She called this thing about toxic. 4 years and counting. Got you feeling like an option. Maybe I'm my own problem, babe. She tired of hearing I don't know. My stubborn in me won't fall. Dealing with this thing called trust. But she really thinking about it. She wanna be free.
Okay, so moving along, Deion Sanders finally got to speak on Shador sliding in the draft, and then all those reports that kind of came out of nowhere talking about Shedeur'S professionalism and how he was acting during the pre-draft process. He said, when you sit up there and say something like he went into a meeting unprepared, Shedeur'S Sanders, who has had 6 different coordinators, who has still functioned and went up, leveled up every time we brought somebody new in, and you're going to tell me he was unprepared? You're going to tell me he had on headphones? Anybody who knows my son understands he's a professional. He's going to go into a meeting with headphones on. Y'all, come on now. So he said a couple other things, basically defending his son, given all the reports that we had seen throughout the year. But Mase, after hearing that, what are your thoughts on Deion's response? And then kind of from what we've seen from Shador now, and just the quietness, and then Brown's minicamp, all those things, how do you kind of feel about the reports that we did hear?
When Deion makes this statement about his son Shador, I think it's spot on what he said. I don't see Deion as a person that would not tell the truth, especially about the sport of football. I think he's a person that really loved this sport, really loved players, even if it's his son operating on a high level. I think he's trained them to be that way, and he knows that his sons understands the moment. For you to go in there unprepared is almost to say that Deion did not prepare him for the highest moment, and I wouldn't agree with that. I know if he was going in there to get the job done, he was highly prepared, especially when you got somebody that's your coach and your dad on the level of Deion. Now, when Deion is speaking, I would have liked to see him, just speak about it as an athlete, because what they try to do most times is get him to speak just as the dad and use that against him, almost like you're just taking up for your son. But if he would have went in there and said, you know what, as an athlete, when you're looking at one of those players, and really put it in perspective the same way, somebody would speak about anybody else that knows what they're talking about. When you come from that place, it doesn't seem biased at all. Take me out of it as a dad. As an athlete, I know this young man, and I watched him from year to year to year to year as an athlete. So I know when he goes in there, he went in there ready to get the job done. And I think this is going to play in Shedeur'S favor. I think when it's all said and done, all of this was perfect for Shador. Even though Deion may not have liked it, Shador didn't like it, I didn't like it, Cam didn't like it. All of those that are rooting for the Sanders family did not like it. I think it turns out to be the best thing that could have happened to him, because he goes in there with a chip on his shoulder. He hits the weight room extremely hard, and he comes out a better quarterback and a better person because of this. Because now people are trying to play with your name. People are trying to act like you really don't belong here. And it puts you in a position where, like Cam would say, bet, watch this season. The moment I get in, it's up for everybody. And I think he's going to play with that chip on his shoulder. And had this not happened, he would come in there probably on superstar time. But because of this, he's going to really dig his cleats in and get the job done. And I won't be surprised if he end up having a real Hall of Fame career.
First of all, I want to give my prayers to Coach Prime. He's going through some medical problems right now that they've been talking about. And so I definitely want to give my prayers and my blessings to the Sanders family before anything else. About this situation, look, everybody watched this unfold live. When we watching the draft, it's almost like we was watching a soap opera. Days of Our Lives, a 3-day series, because you're just waiting for Shador to get drafted, knowing that he should have. And I'm not going to go back and revisit that because we talked about it a couple times on the show as well as a bunch of other sports outlets. And they're still talking about it to the point where we're at now. My opinion is this, and I can never tell Coach Prime what to do because that's my big bro, man. I love him and he gives me advice. Like I said, it's not a lot of people that could call me and I listen and be like, yo, this, that, third. Like, Deion is one person telling me, yo, stop talking and listen to what I'm saying. I'm going to shut up because I have that much respect for him. Just because not of his spectacular athleticism when he's an athlete and being a former athlete, because of his business mind. He had the #1 shoe last year with Nike, and he hasn't played in 30 years. I have along in 20-something years. They said he wore sunglasses after the press conference, and they was making fun of him. He turned that into $1 million thing in 1 week, his sunglasses. He's a marketing genius, a great businessman, and I could never tell him what to do or say. But for me, my opinion is when it comes to this Shador situation, I think the NFL and the owners and the GMs are past Shador or Coach Prime talking. I think it's to the point where Mase just said, it ain't even nothing to talk about. We know Coach Prime. We know that he raised and trained Shador better than that. We don't even have to talk about that. If he's explaining this to white people or other people that don't know about Coach Prime or Deion Sanders, the athlete, you don't got to explain that to us, Coach. We know that. And we're past talking at this point. Shador, if he gets the opportunity, and I know he's fighting for a spot right now, that's what it's about at this point. Because talking, like I said, never tell them what to do, but I believe that's why they were mad. I think it was too much showing off, too much winning, too much being confident. And I think that's where Shedeur'S situation is at now. Fuck all the talking. You ain't got to prove nothing to nobody, Coach. You ain't got to sit there and tell niggas, come on now, what the fuck you mean he came in? We know that. We get it. We know you. We know the type of person you are. We know what Shador is. Don't talk about it no more, in my opinion. We know this. Shador, go out there and bust ass. That's what it's about. Because the more you talk, I believe the more these good old boys get mad. So I would just go out there, show and prove, because one thing that fixes everything is winning. So I'm rooting for Shador.
What you want, nigga? Everything, nigga, super size. 2 Big Macs, like when they doing them 2 for $5.